of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coon. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations, I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
Touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I won't always smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause much one Ahmadiyyah does. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got...
This is the sound of every.
Right, hello everyone. Excuse me. Hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. Okay, so we are right back at it. As soon as I got out of here, I saw the breaking news came out like 13 minutes ago. Okay, and so let's get into it. But also, not just that, I find it also interesting that Ellen and her girlfriend look like they're fleeing the country, talking about they're leaving over Trump. We're going to get into that too. Okay, I was actually going to save that for in the morning. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Okay, so shout out to everybody who is in here. Okay, and listen, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr_A_Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. And also, just for your FYI, I also have the paperwork on Diddy and his attorney. Okay, the filing that they sent to the judge. All right, so let's get into it. Reggie said, not Ellen and Portia. Yes, honey, they're leaving up out of here. Now, they want to say that it's because of Trump, but I think I know what it's really all about. So let's talk about this nefarious attorney, Tony Buzbee. See, let me tell y'all something. Y'all gonna learn. Because I told y'all this man was sketchy. Didn't I tell y'all? Didn't I call it? You heard it here first. I told y'all this man was sketchy. Now he's got two suits. Okay, he's got a civil suit for extortion. Now, I'm not saying that he extorted anybody. That's what it sounds like. It was borderline, at least, like I told you guys. And so now, it's so interesting that a former client is suing him for assault. Not assault, but assault nonetheless. Clearly nefarious. Diddy attorney repping alleged victims sued for assault. A divorce client says champagne flute used as a weapon. Okay, so let's get into it. Tony Buzbee, what were you thinking? Do we perhaps need to start a hotline for him? I have several questions. Now, the lawyer representing more than 120 alleged victims of Diddy has now himself been sued for assault. So a woman suing as Jane Doe, using one of his own tricks, okay, not really giving their names, says a woman suing as Jane Doe claims to have been a former client of Tony Buzbee. Now, she has filed a lawsuit that was obtained by TMZ in which she alleges the attorney assaulted her while repping her in a divorce case. So the documents do not lay out specifics of the alleged assault, but a source connected to the woman told TMZ that she's alleging she was in public. Okay, she was in a public place when Buzbee saw her, flew into a fit of a rage, and then allegedly pushed a champagne flute up into her face, chipping her tooth. Now she says that she has both medical and dental records to prove her injuries. So it looks like Diddy's not the only one who may have a propensity towards violence. She also alleges that he committed malpractice, claiming that he messed up her divorce case, costing her millions of dollars. Now, we're told that the alleged assault occurred several years ago. So the woman's attorney, Jeremy Borer, tells TMZ that Tony Buzbee is nothing but a hypocrite. Do y'all hear this? Do you all hear this? Now, I just need y'all to sit there. I want y'all to sit there. Rachel said she probably owed him money. Well, I doubt it. She said he cost her millions, so she's likely wealthy. And if she owed him money, think about it. He'd be suing her. Okay, because one thing a lawyer's not going to do is let you get away without paying them. At the end of the day, I believe it already. Okay, because I already told y'all he was sketchy. Please pay attention. Okay, and what he was doing. And here's the thing. Do you actually think this man, who's a whole ambulance chaser pretty much, okay? I mean, shout out to him at least for getting these victims of Diddy's. But the bottom line is he's out here trying to do a whole shakedown, making extortion threats. That's what it sounds like. Like I told you, borderline, telling people, oh, if you don't sit down and come up with a settlement by this time and date, then we're going to start naming names. That's pretty much extortion, okay? Just like that nefarious attorney that was dealing with R. Kelly. It's basically the same thing. It's at least unethical. So do you really think he would let her get away with owing him money? I doubt it. And if she lost millions in the divorce, that means that she was wealthy. Okay, so that's not the case, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, and I'm sure that her attorney had the wherewithal, the attorney repping her, Jeremy Borer,
I'm sure that he knows whether or not she actually had injuries because dental work being done, there's always going to be receipts. Okay, now let's get into it. So, goes on to say that he's nothing more than a hypocrite. Okay, and there is nothing worse than a black hat that masquerades as a white hat. Buzbee tells TMZ that that's crazy fiction, like really crazy, like ridiculously crazy. I would ask if the lawyer bringing this silly case is friends with the lawyer from the firm that brought the other extortion case. All of this will be exposed soon. Yeah, that's what Diddy's attorney say about him, Mr. Buzbee. So we're going to all see. Buzbee adds, we won't be bullied or silenced by frivolous cases being filed against me or against my clients. All of this is false and I won't tolerate defamation. Well, then you better start filing your defamation, libel, and slander suit, sir. Because right now, this lady said that you assaulted her with a champagne bottle, a flute bottle, or whatever, and chipped her tooth. All right. I'm sorry. Yvonne said something sounds fishy. Okay, exactly. Something definitely sounds fishy. Troy says, love the ring. When I started viewing you, Queen, you made jewelry that was on fleek. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Yes, I absolutely do. I do the wire wrapped crystals and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so thank you, beloved. Now, this is all so nefarious. I just want y'all to pay attention. And so it looks like, and here's the thing. He's talking about he won't be silenced by frivolous lawsuits. Nobody's trying to silence him. But at the end of the day, everybody's not going to stand for being shaken down because that's what it sounds like he's doing to me. And I told y'all that. I've been telling y'all that. Okay. I've been telling y'all that this is an easy way to get money. Think about it. Whether these people actually did anything or not remains to be seen. But the fact that he's trying to shake them down here's the thing. Pay attention. Because see, here's how I see it. You know how Benjamin Crump, when there's a case with a person who's unjustly murked by the police or whatever, and then Benjamin Crump sues in civil court and gets the settlement and all of that. Now, some of y'all sit there and say, oh, he's not trying to get justice for the victims. He's chasing a bag. Well, how come y'all don't have that same energy for Tony Buzbee? He's doing the same thing, isn't he? At the end of the day, and mind you, I told you all before that Benjamin Crump is good at what he does. That's his job, is to get monetization, okay, monetary compensation for the victims. After they've taken your loved ones out, that's the best thing you can do aside from getting the criminal prosecution, right? And the state comes up with that. So the prosecutors decide on that if they're going to file criminal charges. So that's how that goes. But Tony Buzbee, what's the difference? Okay, do y'all really think that he cares about these people? Do y'all really think that he's trying to get justice? If he was trying to get justice, why would he be so quick to offer them settlements or to, negotiate settlements with them? Just think about it. Think about it. If he really, really was trying to get justice for these victims, would he just be so thirsty to get these people to settle quietly and then threatening that I'm going to expose your names and all of that? Of course not. Of course not. Okay, that's just the facts of the matter. Now, mind you, I hope he does expose the names because I'd love to know who all was doing this stuff. But the bottom line is, it is what it is. Okay, please pay attention. Now, let's talk about Ellen because where the hell she thinks she's going, honey? Let me get my lasso out and just whip her right back in here and pull her on back. Because Ellen, don't try to leave now. Don't you find it interesting that she's claiming that she's trying to leave and never coming back? That's literally what it says, that she's never coming back because Trump's in charge. Girl, Trump was in charge in 2016 to 2020. Didn't leave then. So I think that maybe Ellen's trying to hightail it up out of here because she was at some of those Diddy parties, allegedly. Don't y'all remember when Diddy was on an episode of Ellen? Now, I got back on her so fast I didn't have time to gather the receipts. But I've shown you all before how Ellen was sitting there with Diddy on her show, and she was asking Diddy, well, you never invited me to the parties and this, that, and the third. And then he says, oh, yeah, I'll invite you. And then he started telling her what time the party started and all of that. And let's not forget and act like we don't remember the other nefarious things that we've heard about Ellen in the past. Okay? So please pay attention. But let me pull up the receipt. Talking about she's leaving the country and never coming back. Ellen DeGeneres leaving the U.S. amid Trump victory. So Ellen and her wife Portia de Rossi are reportedly saying cheerio to the United States following President-elect Donald Trump's victory earlier this month. The embattled comedian, known for her robust real estate portfolio, has allegedly moved to the Cotswolds in England. A person close to the TV personality gave this information. She and de Rossi previously listed their multi-million-dollar home in Montecito, California, with Riskin Partners. The DeGeneres source told the outlet that Trump's re-election had inspired the couple's decision to jump ship. Was it Trump's re-election or Diddy's arrest? Okay, I have questions. And here's the thing. Did you all, in fact, even hear? Did you all hear? Who was it that said that they went ahead and arrested Diddy? Because Sloan Bella said it. That's who said it. Sloan Bella said that they arrested Diddy as a distraction from the election. Okay. And I told you all something similar. I told you guys that Trump had an attempted assassination September the 15th. Diddy was supposed to turn himself in on September the 17th, but rather than allowing him to peacefully do so quietly behind closed doors as was planned, they went ahead and pounced on him September the 16th, right after Trump's attempted assassination, the second one, mind you. And I told you all then that was a distraction to get Trump out of the news, to overshadow the second attempted assassination with Diddy news. So please pay attention. Y'all heard it here first, but let me continue. Now, goes on to say that they decided to jump ship. DeGeneres announced her support for Vice President Kamala Harris in September by reposting Taylor Swift's Instagram endorsement. She simply added, "This childless cat lady couldn't agree more." Okay, a direct dig at Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. Now, DeGeneres had previously declared that she had been kicked out of the show business in her Netflix stand-up special, For Your Approval, released on September the 24th. Reports of a toxic workplace environment on her talk show in 2020 drove Warner Brothers to do an internal investigation. You all remember I reported on that too. She's a nasty person, not as nice as she seems on her show, allegedly. Now, DeGeneres ultimately apologized, but the damage was already done. And let me just refresh you all's memory. For those of you who've been following me since I first started my channel in 2020, do you all not remember when I reported that Ellen, excuse me, when all this stuff was going on, and I'm not going to get into the stuff, but it was something similar to the stuff that Diddy's charged with? Yeah, there was a bunch of celebrities whose names were mentioned. Yeah. Do y'all remember that Ellen got on a live on Instagram and she was wearing a sweatshirt that said, "Run, Forrest, run"? And some were alleging that that was a tip to none other than Tom Hanks, because Tom Hanks and his wife were supposedly, I think they were in Australia at the time, and they were supposedly not coming back anytime soon. And she got on there and she was talking and had on that shirt saying, "Run, Forrest, run." And people were saying, "Oh, is she trying to tell Tom Hanks not to come back because of what's going on?" Do y'all remember that? I see y'all putting ones in the chat, so clearly you do. So this further makes me think that she's getting up out of here, getting the hell up out of Dodge before that Diddy list or anything comes out. And mind you, Donald Trump Jr. said that said that Trump was going to release a Diddy list. Okay, please pay attention. It's all nefarious, honey. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. And at the end of the day, I don't care about a list, because is there really a list that we haven't already seen? Or we've already seen the people on, pictures and things and videos, and we've heard Diddy calling out names on a list for his 50th birthday party, his 29th birthday party, and all of that. But the bottom line is, what about those videotapes? What about that? Who's on there, Ellen? Maybe you. I have several questions. Now, I'm not saying Ellen's on there, that she did anything nefarious. Remember, everyone is absolutely innocent until proven otherwise. But I do have several questions, is all I'm saying. Now, it goes on to say that DeGeneres reported the move followers empty threats. This must be a typo. DeGeneres reported move follows. Her reported move follows. That's what they meant. Follows empty threats from other A-listers, including Sharon Stone, and Barbara Streisand, who threatened to leave the United States if Trump were victorious once again. So they're all going to leave because Trump's president again. Or are they all on those Diddy tapes? I'm just asking. Okay, I'm just asking. So, speaking with The Guardian in 2023, Cher said she almost got an ulcer the last time Trump nearly regained power. I can't blame her for that. But if he gets in, who knows? This time I will leave the country. Now, and Cher's probably leaving just for that reason because of Trump. But Elle and I have several questions. Now, earlier this year, Sharon Stone told the Daily Mail that she was toying with the idea of moving to Europe, saying, I am certainly considering moving and getting a house in Italy. Okay, she said that in July. I think that's an intelligent construct at this time. This is one of the first times in my life that I've actually seen anyone running for office on a platform of hate and oppression. Didn't Trump run the same type of campaign in 2016? So this is the first time you saw it? I'm sorry. He did the same thing last time, but let's continue. It was MAGA then and it's MAGA now. So in November of 2023, Streisand said that she wouldn't be able to deal with the Trump presidency. I will move. I can't live in this country if he becomes president, she announced. So weeks ago, actress Eva Longoria made waves by sharing her anxiety for Americans who would have to stay in the country under a Trump regime, saying, I would like to think our fight continues. Okay, this is what she told Marie Claire in an interview days after the election was called. She noted that she thinks the country is a scary place, adding that if he keeps his promises, it's going to be a scary place. It's already been a scary place for Black folk. Okay, it's already been a scary place for Black folk. All right. Can't call the police when you need them without being worried about getting murked yourself. Please pay attention. So, what do you all think about that? What do you all think about that? I find it all interesting, but hold on. Now, somebody posted this supposed list of people, and I'm not going to play the volume because they've got some music playing in the background, but they've got some celebrities that they're showing with a Diddy. Okay, and saying that some of these people were at those parties. Now, I don't know if these people were at the parties or not, but I know that some of them have been pictured with Diddy. Okay. They got Ja Rule, Cynthia Nixon, Kylie Jenner, Russell Simmons. We already know he's nefarious. Naomi Campbell. We already know she is too. I did a whole video airing her out. Megan Thee Stallion, Mike Tyson, Oprah, of course. That looks like LL. Megan Fox. Yeah, that's LL. Lala Anthony, Kanye West, John Legend. We already know about him and Chrissy Teigen. Lil Kim, Eva Longoria. Oh, that's one of the people that said she's leaving the country. Who knew? Rihanna, Barack Obama, Cardi B. Okay, please pay attention. Now, mind you, aren't some of these the same people that were tripping with their social media accounts and deleting posts and all that stuff when Diddy first got arrested? Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's have a word from my sponsor. We're not going to be here long. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to read you the documents, okay, for Diddy when he's talking about this whole Cassie thing and how they edited the video, okay? We're going to find out if they really edited because it will be in these documents, okay? So I got those real quick, so we're going to get into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, and don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just go to Lisa Crafts, and also you can find it at Walmart.com. Now let's get into these receipts, honey, because I have to get me some rest. Y'all have literally worked me all day, okay? Please like and share the video. It's the least you can do. All right. Thanks to those of you who send cash apps, super chats, who bought memberships, who gifted memberships, who send me gifts via my post office or my P.O. box or whatever. Thank you all. I appreciate you. All right. So let's talk about it because here's what the paperwork says, honey. Now let's find out if the feds really edited this video or Diddy's just crying wolf. So it says, let me put on my spectacles. Says the government persuaded Judge Carter to detain Mr. Combs by this is the introduction. Now, this is what Diddy's attorneys have filed, okay? So the government persuaded Judge Carter to detain Mr. Combs by claiming its video of an 8-year-old incident was evidence of sex trafficking and by making unsubstantiated claims of witness tampering. Now, the defense refuted these arguments through its own proffer, okay, but lacked access to key evidence that could corroborate its rebuttal. So I don't think I was aware of this. Did we know previously, or had we mentioned prior that this was because of this was a way to prove that Cassie was in fact sex trafficked? It's been so many cases and so many allegations. I can't keep track sometimes. Okay, so with that all being said, then that would make sense as to why Diddy's attorneys kept saying that it was a decades-long relationship that was, toxic or whatever. But let's continue. So nearly 2 months later, much has changed. Most importantly, discovery produced after the initial bail hearing, some of it after this motion was filed, shows the narrative that the government presented was fictional. For instance, we now know that even before it arrested Mr. Combs, the government possessed blank. They have this redacted, confirming his account of the March 5th, 2016 incident at the Intercontinental Hotel. But instead of presenting that video to the court, the government submitted an altered video that omitted key scenes and presented evidence materially out of order. Now, the prosecutors also claimed there was a second victim, but they have never interviewed her, and messages produced in discovery confirmed that she was not a victim. Likewise, communications produced in discovery show Mr. Combs' contacts with witnesses were innocuous and consistent with his right to participate in his own defense by developing potential defense witnesses. Let me tell you something. One thing I will say is Diddy's attorneys are good at trying to come up with ways to refute the state's evidence, as well as coming up with ways to try to weasel him on up out of there. Now, we'll see if it all works, because the question is, did they in fact actually edit the footage? Because here's the problem with that. Even though we saw what happened, if in fact they did edit the footage, well, that's a bit disingenuous and also unethical. And the judge could deem it to be just that. And so we'll have to keep waiting and see what happens on tomorrow. And so anyway, the government's opposition brief confirms that bail should be granted. The government's opposition brief confirms that bail should be granted. It spills much ink insisting the court lacks authority to reopen the bail proceedings. What does that mean, bail should be granted? That has to be a typo. The government's opposition brief confirms that bail should be granted. That's what it says. It spills much ink insisting the court lacks authority to reopen the bail proceedings. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to see what this is really all about, because I think that has to be a typo. Why would they say that it should be? Okay, and they're filing an opposition. And so goes on to say that even though the controlling authority clearly establishes the court's ample discretion to do so, the government also offers no response to many of the cases cited in Mr. Combs' motion. So it looks like the government has responded to some of the things that Diddy's attorneys are in fact alleging, which is interesting to me. Okay. And they have listed here different cases. One of them is the United States versus Jeffries. And who is Jeffries? Remember, that's the guy from Abercrombie and Fitch, Michael Jeffries. So that's one of the things they've cited on here as, because remember, he got bail and he's accused of almost the same thing as Diddy. So this is getting all so juicy real quick. Okay, let's keep going. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it looks like it's about 20 pages. Now, the government's opposition brief confirms. Okay, I read that part already. Hold on. Okay, so instead the government reprises the same disingenuous tactics that it used in the prior proceedings. It took full advantage of the detention order, scoring Mr. Combs's communications to try to find some actual evidence to substantiate its obstruction allegations. But once again, the government's theatric spin on the evidence omits key context and creates a misleading picture. Y'all hear that? Creates a misleading picture. Okay, so now they're acting like they're trying to put one over on the judge. So, for instance, it makes much of Mr. Combs's contacts with others, but it's unstable to point to any communications involving any actual tampering efforts, and it omits key parts of conversations which show that Mr. Combs was not pressuring anyone or telling anyone what to say about anything. Likewise, its allegations about MDC rule violations are false or overblown. Now, there is no legitimate legal basis for continuing to force Mr. Combs to prepare for trial from jail. The government is unable to show that the extremely restrictive proposed conditions are insufficient to prevent any possible danger or obstruction. The revelations about the recent MDC raid only confirm that it is impossible for Mr. Combs to work with his counsel on a confidential basis to develop his trial strategy from the jail. He is entitled to a pretrial release under the Bail Reform Act and the Constitution. Y'all, this is sounding real interesting. Let me scroll down to the next point of business. And like so, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you. I'm working hard to bring y'all this information. Pay attention. Now, the court should exercise its ample discretion to reopen the bail hearing. Now, this is their argument, okay? They say Mr. Combs's motion presents new material information. The government's efforts to disparage the significance of the new evidence supporting Mr. Combs's motion are nothing more than empty rhetoric. Okay, the evidence cited in Mr. Combs's motion fundamentally undermines the government's prior representations as to the amount of evidence and the nature and seriousness of the purported danger he presents. Now, some of this stuff is redacted, not sure why. So it goes on to say, although the defense had a general understanding of Mr. Combs's past interactions with individuals like victim one, which we already have presumed is Cassie, okay, in the indictment, we did not have access to the specific content that was relevant correspondence because it was contained on devices that were seized from Mr. Combs, but had not yet been produced to him. Now, thus, the government's claim that nothing about the content of the text messages between the defendant and victim one were unknown to him at the time of the initial hearing is false. Now, so they basically told Diddy, according to this, they were basically saying that, Diddy, there was nothing about his communications with Cassie that he didn't already know. So basically saying he didn't need the information that was in those texts. He didn't need his phone back or any of that. Now, they say the government does not dispute that other evidence, such as the blank, that's redacted, could not have been known to Mr. Combs during the initial hearings. As just one example, Mr. Combs did not know that blank directly contradicted the government's claims at the detention hearings, nor did Mr. Combs know that the government was portraying a second woman as a purported victim, even though it was never even spoken, or they have never even spoken to her. Okay, this is sufficient new information to reopen the hearing. Okay, and then they list some more cases, United States versus Jones, okay, and more. New documentary evidence that called into question grand jury testimony sufficient to reopening bail hearing. Now, the government's separate argument that the court has no inherent authority to reopen the hearing because this case has been reassigned is baseless. So they're trying to say that the court doesn't even have the authority to reopen it. This is what the prosecution is clearly saying. And the defense is saying that's baseless. And so anyway, it goes on to say, now they say there was not new evidence, but the adjournment, but for the adjournment of the state. No, I'm sorry, hold on. But the adjournment by the trial date, okay, entitled to consider the basis for the detention order in deciding whether to reopen. They say we're not asking the court to rule that Judge Carter erred, or basically saying that he made a mistake. We're not trying to say that he made a mistake, which is what United States versus English addressed when it observed that a second district court judge is not authorized to review the decisions of a previous district court judge, interpreting review in the bail appeal statute. And then they list the statute. They say we're simply offering new evidence and additional conditions in response to the reason Judge Carter gave for detaining Mr. Combs. Now, as the Second Circuit has clearly instructed, the act leaves the decision to reopen a hearing to the sound discretion of the district court. Okay, and then they list some more filings like United States versus Zhang. And a prior detention determination is a natural reference point against which to measure the materiality of new information for the purpose of reopening the hearing. Indeed, to suggest otherwise would nonsensically untether the materiality inquiry from those facts that the court found consequential to its earlier detention decision. And so with that all being said, then they go on to say that since filing his motion, Mr. Combs has received even more new information, okay, demonstrating the government misled the court about the video at the prior bail hearings. Now, on November the 13th of 2024, the government produced even more material new evidence, including more blank of the March 5th, 2016 Intercontinental Hotel incident. Now, the government had this blank as early as August the 7th of 2024, yet only produced it to the defense after Mr. Combs filed his renewed motion for bail. The blank consists of blank. What is this they're redacting? I am so curious to know. But anyway, it goes on to say blank used to create the government's principal piece of evidence at the earlier bail hearings, an edited, manipulated version of the video published by CNN. The new blank supports the defense's argument at the earlier bail hearings and shows the government knowingly concealed critical facts during the hearing. Well, according to these filings, they did something. I don't know what exactly they did, but clearly they did something. Because this is a long filing. It's like 20 pages, like I told you guys. So they said it was manipulated and edited. Defense's argument at the earlier bail hearings shows the government knowingly mischaracterized and concealed critical facts during those hearings. As an analysis prepared by forensic video, y'all, please pay attention. It says they had a forensic video analyst by the name of Connor McCourt. Are y'all listening? Are y'all listening? Lord have mercy. What have the feds done here? And now I have several questions. Do you all hear this? They went and got a forensic analyst to look at this video. Now, if the judge deems that they did alter it, who knows what's going to happen? But let's keep going because this is all so nefarious. So goes on to say, the defense's argument at the earlier bail hearings shows the government knowingly mischaracterized and concealed critical facts during those hearings. As an analyst prepared by forensic video as an analysis prepared by forensic video analyst Connor McCourt explains that the video the government submitted to the court, omits footage corroborating the defense account and changes the sequence of events in material respects and does not accurately depict the events. The government had the more complete blank during the initial hearings, but chose not to share it with the court. Instead, it offered its edited version of the CNN video as its most powerful evidence of danger and obstruction. Mr. Combs argued Exhibit A1 was not evidence of a freak-off, but depicted a domestic dispute in which he ran down the hall of the hotel to recover his clothes and cell phone. Now, the government invented a direct narrative. It argued that our evidence will show that's just not what happened. Because if it's about the clothes and wanting to get the clothes back, which again, it's not, why drag the victim back down the hallway to the room? And you can see that on the tape. That's what he does. Okay, so this is what the government says in their answer to that. They're saying that, okay, Diddy's sitting here trying to act like, we were just arguing. This is just a domestic dispute. It was nothing about trafficking. And I just wanted to get my clothes and phone. And the government's like, nope, that's not going to even add up, because if that's all it was, why did you have to do all that? And that's exactly what I said. Why would you drag her by the hair and all of that stuff? Okay, so now it's really getting interesting. Okay, so goes on to say, the government further argued that Mr. Combs throws a vase at her. Same thing I said, which the district court cited in detaining Mr. Combs. Now, the government apparently stands by those arguments again here, but they are false and the government knows it. Okay, I want to see how this is false, Mr. Agnaphilo, because that's what we all saw. So says the more complete footage of the incident, in contrast to the government's sensationalized CNN cut, contradicts the government's representations. The video demonstrates that, one, Mr. Combs in fact ran down the hall to retrieve a bag of clothes and a cell phone, did not drag victim back down the hall as the government at its resequenced exhibit falsely shows or suggests. He did not throw a vase at victim one, but only its contents, presumably flowers, and she was not only able to leave once security staff intervened. Okay, in other words, it's the government whose explanation is just another cover-up, just more lies. Well, I don't know if this is going to stick, but you got to give them an A+ for trying. I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to do your best. But anyway, this all sounds nefarious, but let's continue. This is all so crazy. So anyway, the true facts corroborate what Mr. Combs has stated all along. The video is not evidence of a coerced freak-off and sex trafficking, but rather a sad glimpse into a decade-long consensual relationship between Mr. Combs and victim one. Now, the new evidence undermines the government's initial proffer. They say Mr. Combs' new evidence undermines the basis for the initial detention decision, and none of the government's more specific arguments demonstrates anything otherwise. Communications with victim one do not evidence sex trafficking. Not one piece of correspondence that we have reviewed between Mr. Combs and victim one, the sole victim in the indictment, corroborates the prosecution's sex trafficking theory or its representations at the previous bail hearings. And the government still does not offer a single piece of actual evidence supporting that allegation. Instead, it reiterates its proffer of cherry-picked citations to purported messages. If the messages in context actually support the government's argument, why hasn't it produced them to the defense or provided them to the court? Now, I'm sorry, but that's a good question right there. That's a good question right there. Why haven't they? And I'm going to tell you all something for FYI. Now, y'all know I can't stand Diddy, but here's the thing. When you really think about it, don't you find it interesting? Because I sure do, that they were basically talking trash about Diddy, saying that he was, and this is the government I'm talking about, they were basically accusing Diddy of trying to get dirt on the witnesses or victims. And I said, okay, who wouldn't be doing that? Because I sure would, trying to discredit them so that anything they said would not be believable. That's what I would be doing. And I find it interesting that they complained about Diddy and his team doing that when that's exactly what the fans have been doing all along. That's why they've been leaking information to the media, like the New York Post allegedly. And that's also why they allegedly leaked this video. What do you think was the purpose of them leaking this video? Okay, to make Diddy look as guilty as possible and to make him look like he was just a whole thug, and which clearly he is, now mind you. But what I'm saying is, let's take our emotions out of it and our opinions out of it, and let's just stick to the facts, okay? And let's just stick to the rule of law, okay? They want to make him look guilty. They want to make him look as bad as possible, but they don't want him to be able to do the same to the people that are accusing him. And that to me makes no sense, because I do believe anyone would be doing that under the circumstances. Now, the government brushes off victim one's motives for accusing Mr. Combs, okay, for accusing Mr. Combs. So they're basically saying that, I guess they're trying to imply that Cassie had other motives or nefarious intentions. So they say the government brushes off victim one's motives for accusing Mr. Combs as having no bearing on the question of bail. But victim one is the only victim identified in the indictment, and her credibility will be if not the key issue at trial. Now, if the jury does not credit her testimony, it will have to acquit him for the trafficking account. Her motives thus directly relate and diminish the weight of the evidence against Mr. Combs, as well as the nature and seriousness of the purported danger that he, in fact, presents. This is all nefarious. I'm not even joking. So, with that all being said, I'm going to read a few more pages. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. So the government simply has no response to these facts. Instead, it doubles down on more misleading representations to the court. It suggests that Mr. Combs is tampering with this individual through financial coercion, including as recently as mid-September of 2024. Yet the government knows, but again, withholds from the court that blank, 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 and blank. There is simply no financial coercion at all. Mr. Combs did not obstruct grand jury witnesses. The government's discussion of Mr. Combs's contacts and witnesses, or witness number one, contains no facts suggesting any tampering. The government does not and cannot dispute that Mr. Combs did not try to influence the individual's grand jury testimony. To the contrary, he confirmed the witness should blank. Indeed, his contacts with the witness were in coordination with counsel and in connection with a defense investigation. The government cites 128 phone contacts in total with witness number two, but ignores that the content of the correspondence evinces no obstruction. So that would obviously, witness number two would obviously be Kalina Harper. Yeah, that would definitely be her. Because that's who they said he contacted 128 times. Let me scroll down just a little bit further. Okay, so the government concedes that in considering whether release is necessary for preparation of the person's defense, the Bail Reform Act requires that a defendant in custody be afforded reasonable opportunity for private consultation with counsel. The government's breezy assurance that the MDC's procedures do not infringe on the defendant's constitutional right to effective counsel or to participate in his own defense is cold comfort, particularly given what the opposition revealed about how the government has taken advantage of the detention order to violate Mr. Combs's privacy and pierce his privileged communications with his attorneys. The government has listened to his calls, including with family members and attorneys, and reviewed his messages, including with dozens of individuals, including attorneys. Okay, now were they supposed to be doing any of that? Because I have several questions. And by that, I mean listening to the conversations that he was having with his attorneys. Okay, because surely they weren't supposed to be doing that. So the use of other inmates' PAC numbers is also a widespread practice at MDC and not obstruction. Inmates routinely share their calling minutes with other inmates, and they are limited to 15 minutes per call and 1 call per hour. Now, the government has presented no evidence suggesting that anything that Mr. Combs says using other numbers is any different from what he says while using his individual PAC number. If anything that Mr. Combs needs to resort to, Mr. Combs needs to resort to sharing minutes. That demonstrates that the conditions at MDC do not permit an adequate defense preparation. Okay, now depending on how the judge is feeling about all this, they could be making the defense look bad or the prosecution look bad. Okay, they have so much of this stuff redacted. Why is all of this so heavily redacted? I just wish I knew what it said. Now, of course, the government continues to portray the individual in question as a victim who could provide powerful testimony against Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs' Sixth Amendment rights would be violated if counsel did not adequately conduct a thorough investigation into the individual, and any such investigation must be based quite properly on informed strategic choices made by the defendant and on information supplied by him. Indeed, what investigation decisions are reasonable depends critically on such information. Accordingly, courts are mindful of a pretrial detainee's need to make telephone calls to potential witnesses and other individuals who might be useful to the defense. You know, according to the Sixth Amendment, you have a right to confront your accusers. Now, of course, that's in a court of law. But I get what they're saying. Like, he at least has a right to know who is bringing, accusations against him. And I guess they're saying his defense has a right to speak to these people. Now, the quotes cited by the government tellingly include no reference to victim one because they aren't references to any videos or public relations strategy meant to discredit her. Mr. Combs's other comments reflect protected First Amendment speech. The government also cites comments reflecting classic protected speech. The government claims using public statements to alter public perception and blank or blank is obstructive. It argues the same regarding establishing a narrative about blank. Mr. Combs's belief that this is blank and his persona as a blank. Okay, Lord, I don't know why they got all these redactions in here. Okay, please make it all make sense. And so they go on to say, without question, a pretrial detainee does not necessarily forfeit his or her First Amendment rights. Okay, and then they cite some cases like United States versus Matori. Okay, indeed, as the Supreme Court has held, in some circumstances, press comment is necessary to protect the rights of the accused because the defense does not begin inside the courtroom door. And one cannot ignore the practical implications of a legal proceeding for the accused. And again, they cite more cases. One of them is Gentile versus State Bar of Nevada. Now, they go on to say, Combs, who is a criminal defendant and is presumed innocent, has a greater constitutional claim than other trial participants to criticize and speak out against prosecution. Okay, and the criminal trial process that seek to take away his liberty. Then they cite United States versus Trump. His comments, which were not even made but merely anticipated, involve thoughts that this prosecution is politically motivated or that he is innocent of the charges against him, which would constitute protected speech. Now, to the extent the court remains concerned that such statements might interfere with a fair trial, the remedy is not to detain the defendant, which would chill free speech. Instead, it is to screen potential jurors through voir dire. Okay, moreover, the Bail Reform Act, okay, that authorizes courts to release pretrial detainees on condition that they avoid all contact with the alleged victim, which mitigates the specific obstruction concerns raised by the government. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. It sounds like they're presenting a pretty good case as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the whole thing about that video sounds a bit sketchy, but they did have a forensic analyst come in who basically said that it was edited. And so, at that point, it really doesn't matter if it's about him being physical with Cassie. What really matters is that if they brought into court and showed the judge or used it to deny him bail, an edited version of a tape, that's unethical. Okay? That's unethical. So please pay attention. So with that all being said, now they use the term voir dire, and that literally means to speak the truth. Okay? Let me go back and read that for those of you who might have been confused because of the legalese. Instead, it is to screen potential jurors through voir dire, which means to speak the truth. So basically saying that they, want to talk, they talk to potential witnesses to make sure or get a feel if they're going to tell the truth. Now, there is no clear and convincing evidence supporting detention. The government claims its detention request is supported by witness testimony, communications, videos, photos, police reports, and other materials, but it has produced no such evidence. Say what? You mean to tell me after all of this time, they haven't produced any of this stuff? The prosecution? It says they have produced no such evidence. Now, the only testimony in the bail record confirms that blank, blank, and blank, and then the communications it continues to rely on include innocuous messages sent by purported victim number 2, an individual the government has never even spoken to. So they've not even talked to Kalina Harper, if that's who victim 2 is, and I believe that it is, just by the context of how it's, of everything that's been said. Okay, and one it knows, and also one that it knows isn't a victim. And its piece in its Peace Day resistance, the video involving the only specific victim mentioned in the indictment is not evidence of sex trafficking. So, y'all, what are y'all thinking about this? Because this is all a whole hot mess at this point. Okay? This is all a whole hot mess at this point because my thing is, why haven't they spoken to this young lady? If they felt like she was being coerced by Diddy or whatever, it would seem to me that they definitely would have spoken to her by now. And it says they absolutely have not. Wow. This is all real crazy. I don't even know what to think at this point. I don't even know what to think at this point because the government seems like they're just making a bunch of foolish mistakes, like I told you all before. Okay. Now, when they say pièce de résistance, that's a French term that means the most important or impressive part, um, or an outstanding item or an event. And so I'm not sure what that all means. Oh, because they're talking about the video. So the video, that now it makes sense because the video is the main part of evidence, the main piece of evidence that they have been using to deny Diddy bail because that presents him as a danger, and that also makes it look like definitely he was sex trafficking Cassie because he's like holding her hostage basically by dragging her back when she's trying to leave and all of that. Okay, so that's why they're saying that. Okay, so anyway, the video involving the only specific victim mentioned in the indictment is not evidence of sex trafficking. Now, the government again reiterates the indictment's allegations, but offers no response to the case law illustrating why those allegations are sufficient to meet its burden. Because you have to meet a burden of proof, and they're alleging that they have not done so. That's what they're basically saying, that they have not met a burden of proof. So I don't know how this is all going to turn out tomorrow, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm sure anxious to see. I am sure anxious to see. How about y'all? Whew, this is all crazy. Lord, don't let Diddy get up out of here. Please don't let him get out. Okay. Andrew said, yes, you're right. The feds are doing this on purpose to get him out. Didn't I tell y'all that? That's exactly what it seems like. These people are not this stupid. They are not this stupid. I mean, and of course, if they are in fact doing it on purpose, which I'm starting to believe they really are. So with that all being said, they got to make it look good, like, oh, we're fighting to keep him behind bars. Because here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention to something. Why is it that after the indictment, and Diddy's arrest on September the 16th, they still have not come out and said whether that baby oil had any type of GHB or any type of other chemicals or drugs in it? They've not come out and said that. Okay, so please make that make sense. And also, they still only have Cassie listed as victim one. Now, Kalina, it's already been established that she's not a victim. So what's really going on here? And where's the superseded indictment? What's taking so long with that? I thought they would have released that weeks ago. Okay, I thought they would have released that weeks ago. Red Wine Entertainment says they tried to shut it up, but the people got questions. Exactly. I have a whole bunch of questions because this is all crazy as far as I'm concerned. Okay, sorry guys, I was talking to somebody. Now, so this is just all sounding real sketchy at the end of the day. Victor says because it didn't, they did say already. They did say what already, beloved? They did say what already? Marie says P. Diddy is an innocent black man who's being held hostage in America, a neo-Nazi state of America. Epstein actors is being covered up. Oh, okay. All right, beloved. I mean, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. I think otherwise. Diddy's absolutely guilty as far as I'm concerned, at least for some of these things, if not most. But with that all being said, the bottom line, whether is, it doesn't matter if we think Diddy is guilty or not. The bottom line is, like I told you all yesterday, you have to follow the rule of law. People are supposed to have, due process of law. You're not supposed to be violating their constitutional rights. You're not supposed to be tampering with evidence, because that's what they did. If, in fact, they edited that footage, now this is what the forensic analyst has already said. So if they tampered with the footage by editing it, that's tampering with evidence. Sorry, that's what it is. So what are y'all doing, prosecution? Sounds like they're doing it all on purpose. I have to go back what I initially said. It sounds like they're doing this all on purpose. Lorraine said Diddy and Juicy Smollett are going to party together tomorrow. Watch. All I'm going to tell you guys is this. Don't be surprised if Diddy gets bail tomorrow. Don't be surprised, because here's the thing. The judge was already so annoyed with the prosecution at the emergency hearing. He already had a myriad of questions for them, including why is it that they don't want Diddy to get jailed so desperately when Michael Jeffries, who has almost the same accusations, was given bail. Make that make sense. So at the end of the day, there's no telling how this is all going to turn out. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will see you all bright and early in the morning. And we're going to be watching, getting a live reaction on that bail hearing tomorrow. Okay, so, and also, Gavin Richard is supposed to be on here. Okay, the legal expert. So we're going to get it all hashed out. All right, so I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got